We're Sid and Mackie, and we're professional mountain bikers on a quest to race the best and most unique mountain bike races around the world, whether it's cross-country, enduro, stage racing, or something different altogether. A few weeks ago, we were in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, gearing up to race the Revolution Enduro. Due to some unforeseen circumstances and a pretty packed schedule, this was only going to be our first enduro of the year. However, life had other plans. In the hopes of making some helpful content out of what were two pretty blah weeks for us, we decided to share our COVID experience and how we got back to training after being sick. Hopefully, this video can be helpful for anyone else who's dealing with COVID or really any other inconveniently timed illness during their summer riding season.
It's clear I am not feeling good enough yet to do that workout.
I'm a little congested still, but my primary symptom is rage.
We were in Winter Park for national championships and the 12-hour race that Sid did. And we were staying at a friend's house, and he had another friend who was there. And shortly after we left, we found out that that other friend had tested positive.
We found this out while we were in Steamboat pre-riding for the Enduro, so we didn't have great cell service. We both took tests, we were negative. However, the next day, Mackie started feeling not so good.
And at first I thought, I don't know, I don't feel that bad. We pre-rode the next day where I felt a little bit worse, and it was harder to pretend that maybe I was just being suggestible. Took another test, and it was very clearly positive. Obviously, we had to scrap the Steamboat Enduro. We drove back that day. We had pre-ridden in the morning and just got in the car. I put a mask on.
This is probably a futile exercise, but I didn't want to get sick.
Got back home. I went straight into our bedroom.
And locked him in there.
Sid padlocked the door.
Barricaded
it, and I spent 2 days in bed. Sid brought me food and water and was very nice and took care of me, but we were trying real hard to not expose her more than we needed to.
Spoiler, it didn't work. I got sick about 2.5 days after Mackie. I was never quite as out of it. I think I didn't have as high of a fever as you did. I didn't get man COVID. We both basically had 2 days that were a total waste.
You're not looking too good.
On the third day for both of us, we woke up and were like, oh, okay, we're not gonna die. This was kind of the point where we made the decision to proceed very cautiously with riding. We got on the phone with Mike.
I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I have an EMT certification, but in this video, I'm not acting as a medical professional. I'm acting as a performance professional. Had the opportunity, I guess you would say, to walk a handful of athletes through contracting COVID in the last 2 months, taking the steps to get them back to training and racing.
This is kind of the thing with getting sick, no matter what it is, whether it's COVID or just a cold. There's always kind of a point where you start to feel like, oh, I could ride. That's often before you should be riding, and definitely before you should be riding hard.
The biggest thing is rest and sleep. Get as much sleep as you can. Get as much rest as you can. If you can take days off of work, stop training. You don't have to do intervals. You don't have to do long, easy rides. Just rest.
The first activity that we did was riding e-bikes.
Yeah, e-bikes.
Which we both did on the 5th day of being sick for each of us. That was when we started riding e-bikes. I think that was a really great solution. I think getting outside and moving was what we needed at that point, but we were very careful to keep our heart rates low, to not really do any effort, to just be moving and being outside. Okay, the time has come. It's Mackie's birthday. Let's see if he can get a
negative test for my birthday.
The sound is bad because of our oven.
Okay, Brain, you ready for a little tickle?
Oh, that's literally my snot. Oh, that's looking promising so far.
Oh no.
Oh, maybe not. I can't tell yet. No, I see a line.
Yeah, but the line is not by the T.
Faint line.
There's a faint line. Hey, look, guys, this is good for mine. Well, I guess this is why they tell you to wait 15 minutes, because now we have a little bit of a line there. Although, when you compare it to Sid's, whoa.
Apparently I still have COVID.
The next piece is hydration. That helps with any illness, and it actually helps with maintaining your fitness, because first thing you'll lose is someone who's training plasma volume. So if you're maintaining your hydration, you're not going to lose that plasma volume. And you're going to come back as strong as you were before you had to take a few days off.
We've been hydrating a lot. Like mainlining scratch, basically.
It is now Friday. I have had COVID for a week and 2 days. I was all optimistic. I was like, I'm gonna get up this morning, I'm gonna test, assuming it's negative. I'm heading up to Pajarito Bike Park. I'm gonna pre-ride for Party at Paja tomorrow, and it's all gonna be hunky-dory. This is what I got. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, cool. But if you look real carefully, there's actually a second line there. As much as I want to just go up and pre-ride, I'm gonna be responsible about it. I really don't want to give anybody COVID. It's not fun. Don't want anyone else to have to deal with it. I'm still hopeful that tomorrow I will take a test and it will be clear, at which point I am planning to go up and race. I'm finally feeling like I have the energy to do a gym workout. I've got some back squats, bent over dumbbell rows, dumbbell hang cleans, and Turkish get-ups. I would say just overall, I have been feeling mostly tired. So I'm hoping that like doing a little bit of a gym workout will kind of wake me up and help me feel a little bit better. How are you feeling?
Way better today than I have so far, I think.
Excellent.
I'd say probably the fatigue is the major symptom that we've had
Yeah.
in general.
Besides that, it mostly just feels like a cold.
Yeah, I feel like doing something today because I'm going insane.
So how was your first gym workout back?
It was actually fine, despite appearances. I'm just frustrated in general. Mike has been texting us every day. He's like, what are your symptoms? How are you doing? And this morning I was like, I'm a little congested still, but my primary symptom is rage that I'm not gonna race this weekend. It's fine. It really is fine.
It's fine, yeah.
I have things in perspective. It's fine. It's just I have a bit of personal attachment to this race. But I also don't really want to go race if it's gonna like make it take longer to recover, or if it's just gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
Because there's no point. It's just that like last year, this was the first race that I did.
You won.
Also I won. But I think more my frustration is like last year I came into that race completely unfit, like completely unable to ride up a hill. I wanted to be able to like compare my times after like a year of training. Not even a year.
And last year you didn't really get the pre-ride for it, and this year you were like, cool, we're gonna get the pre-ride, and then COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next day, which was day 10 for Mackie, he did test negative, so he was able to race the Party of Paja.
Good luck, guys.
Tried to get everybody as close to possible to 100% healthy before we started training again. That said, the big piece of information that I wanted was heart rate data. What is this doing? And we can see for a given intensity, hey, heart rate's still a little high. We're gonna cut back a little bit, keep resting, keep working on getting more sleep, and then see what happens to heart rate the next day and the day after that.
We haven't done much enduro racing this year because the ones we keep planning to do get canceled or we get COVID and can't do them. I didn't have a whole lot of heart rates to compare to, but I did feel like I was finishing the runs and my heart rate was fairly high. And I was like, well, that's because I'm racing, like that's normal. But then moving forward, I do think that there was some elevated heart rate.
For the next sort of 4 or 5 days for both of us, like we were feeling better every day. So we started adding in endurance pace rides. I felt fine on those. We did sort of look at our heart rates. Heart rates were a little high on average, but we didn't have any crazy spikes or anything. I still had a ton of fatigue. Days 9, 10, 11, very tired those days. I think day 12 was the day that we did a legit endurance ride, and then I like came back after that and still did things the rest of the day. And I was like, oh, that's different.
Today is day 12 since I tested positive. I'm gonna try doing an interval workout today. I'm kind of gonna use it as a test to see like how I'm feeling, if I feel like I'm good to go back to doing intervals. Obviously racing 2 days ago, I went pretty hard. My heart rate got up there pretty high, but it was downhill hard. So today I think is gonna be a pretty good test to see, am I getting the heart rate spikes that some people have talked about? Am I having trouble breathing? How are you feeling? You're day 10 now.
Not as good as I would like, but like not bad either. Just gonna do like an endurance ride and see how that goes.
Woo! Fall in the hole. I love you.
Have fun.
All right. Did a good bit of endurance at the beginning there with Sid. Now I'm gonna get on Pipeline Road and do some intervals, and we will see how they feel. This first one especially is gonna be pretty hard. It's like a 2-minute, pretty high intensity. I don't remember the exact range, but hard. Wow, that was hard. I wasn't quite able to hit the power numbers for the whole time, but given that it was a, well, fire road, therefore not a consistent grade, I'm not super worried about that. All right, time for the first 20-minute. Hopefully it feels a little better than that. Oh. Okay, I made it 10 minutes. And my average has dropped below the range, and I'm having a hard time getting into the range. So I think that means I'm not ready for intervals yet. Oh man, what a bummer. It's clear I am not feeling good enough yet to do that workout. Well, the good news is that I feel pretty good technically. I feel like I'm writing technical stuff pretty well. And I feel like I have the power for short periods of time. I just don't seem to be able to, hold like a 20-minute effort. I'm a little disappointed that I was not able to do those intervals, but overall I feel pretty good. So I'm happy about that. How about you?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not expect to feel amazing.
Yeah.
And I did not feel amazing.
Yeah.
I think my heart rate was trending a little high for like the perceived effort. Part of the issue is I don't usually pay attention to heart rate.
That's part of it. It's like everybody's like, see if your heart rate spikes on effort, and we're like, the truth is we don't really pay attention to heart rate because we pay attention to power. And it's only if your heart rate's doing something really weird that you notice. And so now all of a sudden we're like conscious of our heart rates, but like, I don't know.
I was thinking about this, and I think we could consider it that like we're overanalyzing it because we have COVID. But I also think there's a bit of a possibility that we've kind of underanalyzed what our bodies were doing when we were sick previously. Having a higher heart rate after being sick is not necessarily unusual.
Yeah.
Especially like what we're
true.
talking about. Like we're not getting like 190 beats a minute.
Yeah, it's not like
just
20 or 30 beats higher than expected. It's like 5 to 10.
Yeah. I also started getting a bit more congested, but then I also am literally covered in head to toe in pollen, which I'm not sure you can see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it COVID? Is it allergies? Just took a bath in pollen.
Once we started getting back on the bike and we were doing some gym work and we were able to do things, but we were just extra tired. It was about, I think, 12 for you and 14 for me. So about 2 weeks before we started being able to be like, oh, look, we did an endurance ride. And like, we don't feel like we have to take a nap for the rest of the day.
Once we started feeling better, like the improvements happened really fast.
Yeah.
I sort of expected it to take longer and then kind of hit day 12 and like day 13, we also went and did a ride. Then the next day we did openers for Oak Flats.
How did you feel? That was our first attempt, my first attempt at intensity, your second attempt.
This time I just did a 5 minute, so shorter, but I did 318. I think my heart rate topped out at like 155. Totally reasonable for that.
It was good. I was gonna drop down a zone, and then I didn't.
Like a power zone, you're just
Yeah.
gonna go for a lower zone?
Yeah, because I was scared, but then
Yeah.
it was fine. Heart rate was normal. Legs feel like but legs feel like when you don't ride for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or when you don't go hard for 2 weeks. But that just made me feel so much more encouraged for the weekend. Being able to do like a 5 minute at a normal power zone for me makes me think like it's an okay thing to be doing racing this weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, like my heart won't explode in the short track. I mean, it might, because I haven't done a short track this year, but I've done like 2 short tracks in my entire life.
I think the biggest thing for us was this was an opportunity cost. We lost 2 weeks where we could have done a training block.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we really went backwards in any significant way, which I'm super relieved about. And that was really the goal. As soon as we got sick, we went into kind of damage control mode. We can try to push through this, but probably that training block is gone. So we're going to accept that. We're going to recover fully and get back to where we were.
But still, the biggest pieces are get as much sleep and rest as you can, relax about training, hydrate, and wait till you're as close to 100% as you possibly can before you resume full training.
It's helpful to remember that everybody has setbacks during a season.
You look at Instagram, it looks like it's going
Right.
great for everybody except you.
We know so many people who got just COVID this summer, much less other illnesses, much less minor injuries that take you out for 2 to
Crashes,
3
broken
weeks.
bones.
Yeah. For me, the quicker I can accept that something has happened and just like plan from there, the better I do mentally. Because I knew if I had tried to train through COVID, it would have made it take longer to recover. It would have been very frustrating mentally. And, you know, it might have made us legitimately sick for longer. I guess our takeaway is be compassionate with yourself if you get sick in the summer. It happens.
We have some big races coming up towards the end of the season, and being able to take that recovery now will hopefully mean that we feel fresh and good and strong through the end of the season and can have a good second half of the season.
Tune in next week to see how our first race after COVID goes as we head down to Tijeras, New Mexico for the Oak Flats cross-country race. Were we able to get back to 100% in just 2 weeks? Or are we in for an unpleasant surprise?
I got cocky because it had gone really well and I thought I could be more pinned.